Hey there, all you beautiful souls. I hope your day has been absolutely fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you back for yet another exciting episode of What If Naruto Was the Descendant of Scorpion. Don't forget to pay a visit to the author of this captivating fanfiction and show them some love. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Uzumaki Naruto sacrificed his life to protect a precious person, but instead of going to the afterlife, Naruto finds himself face to face with the remains of a soul that was locked away deep within his own soul. A soul filled with fury and vengeance of a family and clan that was taken from him. How will this chance meeting change Naruto, and will it be for better? If this what if is sparking your curiosity, drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the plethora of other intriguing what ifs available on this very channel. Alright, let's not keep you waiting any longer, let's dive right into this thought-provoking video. Village of Wave. Pav. Hatake Kakashi. So, can you run all of that by me again? Kakashi asked with a look of disbelief in his visible eye, not knowing that the wounded Zabuza had the same look on his face as Sasuke stood before their sensei. It had been a day since the battle on the bridge, and many things had occurred. Immediately after the battle and the running off of the late Gado's army by Naruto's clones, Naruto himself fell unconscious and stayed that way with the exhausted Haku by his side all night, and when he did awaken, he left to be on his own. And with Haku still resting off her chakra exhaustion, Sakura was the one who left to find him, leaving Sasuke to tell his sensei and by extension, Zabuza all that had occurred the day before. It's simple, Naruto came back to life and defeated that guy you guys were fighting while using these techniques I had never seen or read before on any shinobi. Then he killed Gado and ran off the army he had as well, Sasuke repeated with a troubled frown on his face. Even as he said what had happened to his sensei, he still couldn't believe what he had seen, and totally understood how his sensei didn't believe his words. Kakashi, he's telling the truth, Zabuza said with a frown on his face. His body language, his voice, and his eyes are showing me that. Obviously, you see that as well. I do, it's just, I can't believe that, Kakashi insisted with a stunned look on his face. He had killed so many with a single use of his Rikiri, that hearing that Naruto actually survived it and managed to defeat Han was astounding. No, not survived. Sasuke used the words came back, telling Kakashi that he had killed his student, but he came back to life. But to come back without a scratch on him was unheard of. It was seriously bugging Kakashi out that this occurred, but he then sighed. He should be happy that his student was alive, but something else was troubling him. Sasuke said that Naruto had killed Gado without any hesitation, and even stated that he showed no remorse while doing so. That didn't match Naruto's MO at all. Naruto was compassionate and kind-hearted, despite his prankster nature. He would never kill anyone and show no remorse while doing it. That was more Zabuza's MO instead of his students, but he would take Sasuke at his word and judge the blonde-haired shinobi when he saw him again. Speaking of which, where was Naruto? Sasuke, one more question before you guard Tazuna at the bridge. Where is Naruto now? Kakashi asked as he eyed his student down. Sasuke shrugged, then stated, I don't know. When Sakura and I went to check on him, he was gone and Haku was out cold in his spot. Sakura did say she would find him, but that was 3 hours ago, and I haven't heard anything yet. Kakashi nodded and gave Sasuke his thanks and dismissed him, and after a few seconds of thought, he turned his head to Zabuza and asked, so what do you think of this? Zabuza could only smirk as he said, I haven't fully met the Gaki yet, but he saved my life, and Haku's, killed Gado, defeated Han, and scared off Gado's army. I like this Gaki more and more I hear of him. Kakashi sighed. He should have known that would be his answer. Village of Wave. Pav. Uzumaki Naruto. The sounds of waves splashing were heard as Naruto sat on the wooden bridge, his body resting in a half-lotus position as he meditated on all that had occurred just a day ago. He had died, or came very close to it, and met his past life known as Hisashi Hanzo, and became one, and in doing so, he not only obtained his past life's memories, but also his current life's memories as well. His skills from both past and current lifetimes were combined as well. Before he was a pathetic fighter with only one known jutsu, but now, he was as skilled as a high-level Chunin or low-level Chunin. Surely, he would be far stronger if his skills from this current life were up to the task, but knowing his past skills certainly erased his feeble skills in taijutsu and elemental training, so all he had to do was to get stronger. Due to testing his skill with 100 of his clones early that morning, Naruto knew that he still had the power to tap into the unmatched form of Scorpion, but unlike in the past, he was now once again able to be overwhelmed by the pure wrath and hatred of his superpowered form. Naruto couldn't help but think back to when he saw that form from a different point of view during his meeting with his past self. I am revenge taken form. I am the result of destroying and rebuilding one's soul from the flames of the Netherrealm itself. I am the ultimate force in death and destruction. I am Scorpion. The undead wraith of Hisashi Hanzo. Naruto shivered briefly before he let a wry grin form on his face, as he thought more like the undead wraith of Uzumaki Naruto. But now that led to the reason why Naruto was meditating in the first place. Everything from his past and current life was melded into one being with everything intact, but the question he was facing was a simple one. Who was he really? Was he Uzumaki Naruto, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune and the #1 hyperactive, unpredictable, orange-wearing shinobi? Or was he Hisashi Hanzo, the clan leader of the dead clan known as the Shirai Ryu, and the hellspawn known as Scorpion? Should he mirror his personality from his former and possibly his first life as a no-nonsense shinobi, who got the job done to support his family and clan, as well as the hate-filled monster known as Scorpion? Or should he remain the plucky, happy-go-lucky, lonely host of the Kyuubi, Genin of Konohagakure no Seido who had a never-say-die attitude? He truly didn't know, and sadly, this made him miss his only friend from his time. Takahashi Kenshi. The man who had saved him from himself when he first came back to life. The man who taught him how to make peace with his past and how to harness his power into his own instead of his hatred. If only he were here to save him from the thoughts of not knowing who he truly was. Kenshi, if I ever needed your uplifting words, now would be the time, Naruto murmured softly as memory began to play out in his head. Unknown mountaintop, flashback. Pav. Hanzo Hisashi. Must we really do this, Takahashi? Hanzo muttered, his anger-filled eyes locked on the serene form of the warrior before him. The warrior before him was of Japanese descent with black wind-swept hair, along with a faint showing of a beard and a scarlet-colored wrapping over his eyes, and on his body, he wore a red akidogi with a black hakama and a black uwagi without sandals. Hanzo, on the other hand, wore similar clothing to the warrior, but his akidogi was yellow, and his hakama was black, and he was barefoot. The two were in the middle of meditating when Hanzo muttered those words to the man before him, clearly annoyed by what he deemed a waste of time. The warrior let a gentle chuckle and calmly addressed, meditation is always the first step to enlightenment, Hisashi-san. Hanzo scoffed at this and growled, when you said you would help me walk a new path, meditating was not the first thing I had in mind. We could be doing any other exercise, but we are stuck doing this. It's just a waste of time. I understand your plight, my friend, but the fact is that what you deem a waste of time is a stepping stone to your path to redemption, the samurai replied, his voice as calm as ever, but Hanzo was not hearing that nonsense. He could take a lot of things, but meditating was where he drew the line. He had to do it when he was a small boy, and every day before he became the head of the Shirai Ryu, and he was not going to go back to doing it. But there was another reason for his burst of anger. The word that his ally had used. Redemption. He had failed to redeem himself once before, and it left him more of a withered husk than before. He deserved no redemption. He didn't deserve to be breathing the cold, crisp air of the mountain. He and Takahashi Kenshi had stayed while his wife, his son and his clansmen were buried beneath the earth. Redemption, Hanzo spat out the word as if it was laced with poison, hints of hellfire burning within his eyes. There is no redemption for me, Takahashi. I lost at the moment I forfeited my family and clan's resurrection by killing Sub-Zero. I should not be alive now. The warrior let out a soft sigh at Hanzo's words and said, but you are alive now. You made a mistake while being blinded by rage. It has happened to the best of us. TCH, you act as if you know how it feels to be blinded by rage. Then again, that would be pretty redundant, wouldn't it, Takahashi? Hanzo scathingly retorted as if trying to goad the blind warrior into some sort of negative emotion. He knew it was wrong to hit below the belt with the sole person who was helping him, but Hanzo felt that familiar itch of rage and bloodlust entering his veins, and he could not stop it from bubbling to the surface. But instead of Kenshi taking up his heirloom sento to fight due to his dig at his blindness, the man merely chuckled and shook his head, as if he was amused by his words. I actually do understand how it feels, the samurai responded, his voice still as calm as it was the moment they had met. Before I lost my sight, I was arrogant. I thought myself invincible and was easily prone to anger when someone questioned my skills or mocked me as you just did. When Shang Tsung played to my pride to retrieve Sento, and because of my pride, it led me to be blinded and my ancestors to his hands. The anger that was in Hanzo's eyes seemed to cool down at Takahashi's words. He had no idea that the treacherous sorcerer Shang Tsung was behind his blinding as well as his greatest strength, nor did he know that the humble samurai was as prideful and arrogant as Johnny Cage. Every day that I draw breath, I feel guilt that I was blinded by my arrogance and pride, which led to my ancestors being taken by Shang Tsung, but I learned from it. Not only was I humbled by the experience, but it also gave me purpose to use my powers to fight for good. The samurai then chuckled to himself. We were both different people before tragedy struck us. In your case, 3 different people, but now is the time for you to take the first steps in actually healing from your losses, and making peace with the wrath that has fueled you for all these years. It won't be easy, I know this, but one day when you're living in peace, I think you'll thank me for it. Hanzo stared at him in wonderment before he chuckled and said, I truly must be insane because I actually believe your words. I'm glad my insanity got to you. I was nervous I was going to have to battle you to end the boredom you were in, Kenshi said with a laugh. Hanzo merely smirked and said, well, perhaps we could have a spar, Takahashi. Meditating is quite boring and you're better off fighting me anyways. I've always learned tough lessons with my fists, and I doubt that will change. Kenshi merely smirked and said, "As you wish," and with a flash of light blue energy, Sento appeared on his lap, which made Hanzo's smirk to whiten before he lunged. Village of Wave, present. Pav. Uzumaki Naruto. TCH, I am truly insane, I actually missed that clown, Naruto thought with a wistful chuckle, his eyelids opening to reveal his bright blue eyes to the world once more, before he stood up and stretched out his limbs as he yawned. But as he lowered his arms from the air, he heard a familiar voice shout, "So this is where you are, Naruto." Naruto turned around to see Sakura running towards him with an object in her hands, which made Naruto glance at her, with a hint of confusion in his ocean blue eyes. What was she doing here? Village of Wave. Pav. Haruno Sakura. This village is not that big. I should be able to find him. Sakura exclaimed in her head as she raced around the village to find her blonde teammate. When she and Sasuke went to check in on him that morning, they found him gone and Haku sleeping in his spot. Sasuke offered to go find him, but Sakura told him she could handle it, but when he asked, "Why do you want to find him?" she told him that this was the least she could do after not assisting in yesterday's battle. And while that was true, there was another reason that she had wanted to find Naruto as well. When Naruto came back from the dead, Sakura was elated to see her friend back, and immediately assisted Haku when he collapsed after his battle, but during the night, Sakura finally had time to think about all that had happened. When Sakura first met the blonde as a child, she had played with him and even called him cute, but when she told her mother about him, she was spanked and was told that he was a cruel thing that didn't deserve kindness. He deserved to be treated as meanly as possible. And like a good child, she told her brand new friend that they were no longer friends, and that she didn't like him one bit. Since then, she had been mean to him. Sure, there were times she was kind enough to put up with him in class, but all the other times, she never hesitated to belittle him and hit him, and go out of her way to make his day miserable. But she never thought she was doing anything wrong. Kiba and Ino were doing the same thing. Hell, everyone in their class used him as their verbal and sometimes physical punching bag, except Hinata, Choji, Shikamaru, and Shino. But everyone knew that while Hinata didn't do those things because she had a weird little crush on him, Shino, Choji and Shikamaru didn't do anything mean to him, but did avoid him plenty of times. But Sakura had never seen a frown on his face once. He would pout for 3 seconds, and then turn back into the lovable goof that would absorb all of their torment. Especially hers. But thanks to Haku's words, she realized that this was a facade. And through this realization, she had another. Sakura also realized that during this entire mission, Naruto was different than his normal self. He was quieter than normal as well as more subdued, and at first, she thought this was due to him being outside of the village, but as she thought back, he seemed more at peace with his surroundings. He was kind and respectful to anyone that he came past. He would work his hands to the bone with Tazuna each, and every time they went to the bridge. She even caught him using a clone to play hide and seek with the village kids quite a few times. And when Inari told him about his stepfather dying at Gato's hands, Naruto seemed even more determined and threw himself into all that he did. He never whined and complained like he would in the village. He never backtalked or grumbled behind anyone's back when they gave him an order like he would anyone in the village. All he did was do as he was told and worked his ass off, all with a gentle yet determined smile on his face. Sakura found that odd at first that he could smile when so much sadness was going on around him, but now she realized that he was smiling because he was determined to save this place. He was determined to keep this place from being as sad and lonely as he felt every day in his own damn village. She now realized that the hyperactive goofball prankster dead last of their class was actually a sad and lonely kid, crying out for attention from those that had shunned him and hurt him. But the thing that really sent her over the edge was that if all of this was true, he put up with their abuse of him, simply because he wouldn't be lonely anymore. And the moment he found someone that was kind to him just to be kind, he latched onto that person tightly. And that caused her to cry herself to sleep. The reason she was searching for him was that now was the time for her to change her ways. She was going to put it all on the line and beg for his forgiveness and hope he forgave her. And no matter if he forgave her or not, she was going to make sure that he would never be lonely again. And the moment she found him, he was stretching at the end of the wooden bridge, and that's when she yelled, "So this is where you are, Naruto." Once he turned around at her shout, Sakura didn't hesitate and kept running down the bridge until stopped in front of him and panted hard, sweat dripping down her face as she huffed, "You've been looking everywhere, for you." Naruto chuckled at the sight before him, which caused Sakura to look up and glare at the blonde-haired shinobi. "Stop laughing. It's not funny," Sakura pouted. "You look so frazzled compared to your prim and proper self, Sakura-san." "I couldn't help but laugh," Naruto stated before he chuckled again, unaware that Sakura flinched a bit at the title he called her. She was so used to Naruto calling her Sakura-chan, that now when he called her Sakura-san, it made her feel weird in her stomach. As if she was punched in the gut. "Why was that?" "It's okay, I'll make sure to be all prim and proper when I beat your sorry behind later," Sakura responded as she stood up and looked up at him, her face twisted into a mock scowl before it melted away into a serious look. Despite the good-natured start of their conversation, she knew it was going to get very emotional for her, but it had to be done to begin the start of a better friendship with the shinobi before her. But what Sakura hadn't realized was that as she looked up at his chuckling face, she felt her own face heat up. Despite all the mean things she would say, her first thought of him being cute had never changed. Before she always referred to the short plucky baby face Genin, but now it was different. He was taller than before, and his face seemed more sharp and defined than before, and the semi-spiky locks that fell to the sides of his face framed it so well. Add to the sunlight that was behind him, and Sakura found herself thinking, whoa, he's very handsome. Handsome, that's all you've got to say about Naruto? Inner Sakura exclaimed in shock. You need to get your eyes checked because our cutie became a hottie, cha. Sakura-san, do I need to escort you back to Tezuna's? Naruto asked. I'm fine, why? Sakura asked with a hint of breathlessness. Because your face is all red. I know it's burning hot out, but I don't need you to overheat and suffer a heat stroke, Naruto responded. But Sakura could see the humor in his eyes as he said this, as if he knew she was blushing because of his upgrade up the cute hot ladder. But that couldn't be, could it? Sakura snorted at her thoughts and said, at least your sense of humor hasn't changed, Naruto. Sakura then caught a flash of recognition appear in Naruto's eyes, before a small smile appeared on his lips. I thought you always said I had no sense of humor due to my pranks, Naruto stated as he leaned back and crossed his arms. Exactly, Sakura retorted with a blank look, but then she let out a small giggle, which was accompanied by Naruto's chuckle. The reason I was staring was due to wondering how you changed the way you did. I mean your looks, your skills, it's all different. I honestly have no idea, Naruto murmured with a frown on his face. One moment I was dead and the next, I was standing in a ring of fire. Sakura crossed her arms, her mind racing to figure out how he could have changed until her eyes widened. Wait. It could be that you have a Kekkei Genkai. I mean Sasuke activated his Sharingan yesterday during his fight, yours could have activated when you died. Naruto seemed to think on this before she noticed he gave a subtle shrug, as if that explained everything and said, that works for me. I'll seek counsel with the Hokage to check if this is the case. But now I have a question for you. What are you doing here? I came to find you because you were missing this morning. You should have let one of us know you were going to leave, Sakura told him as the two began to walk down the wood-made bridge. I did. I told Haku-chan that I would be going into the village to make sure none of Gato's men would come back, Naruto explained, but Sakura snorted. She was out cold in your bed, Sakura told him with a blank stare. Oh, I did not realize that, Naruto admitted rather sheepishly, which made Sakura laugh a little, thinking that at least his not realizing obvious signs hadn't changed. How did you not realize that? Sakura asked with a glance at his direction. She came to see you and you put her in your bed when you left. Naruto stopped completely, which caused Sakura to look back at him in confusion, but it was then she caught his confused expression. Why was he confused? He shouldn't be confused about putting her in his bed. Unless... Naruto, she was just visiting your room, right? Sakura asked with a hesitant tone in her voice. When Naruto turned his head to look at the sky, unwilling to answer her question straight up, a deep blush settled on Sakura's face when she realized the implications. The two of them had stayed in the same bed. Did that mean that they... Haha, let's just forget I said anything and move on, Sakura said with a shaky voice, unable to fight down the blush that settled on her face. Naruto nodded in agreement and said, it's starting to get unbearably hot out here. Let's go under the tree over there. Soon, Sakura found herself sitting under the tree shade with Naruto, who had leaned back on the tree to get comfortable, and decided to go over her apology plan once more in her head. She was going to stay as strong as possible and not break down into tears, and then hopefully, Naruto would forgive her, and they can be friends. And if not, she would understand but continue to be there if he ever needed her until things changed in the future. Taking a deep breath, Sakura said, Naruto, we need to talk about something important. Haku and I didn't do anything. We stayed up and talked and kissed, that's all, Naruto quickly stated, his voice somewhat panicky and shaky, which caused Sakura to laugh a bit. At least his blurting out things randomly hadn't changed either. But somehow, hearing him say that they didn't do anything made her feel somewhat better, but imagining them kissing had unexpectedly annoyed her, but she let it go due to wanting to get started with her apology. Thanks for telling me, but it's not about that, Sakura said, another blush forcing itself on her face, but this time, she was able to fight it down completely. It's about what happened on the bridge yesterday, as well as before that. She caught the subtle change from relaxed Naruto to on guard Naruto, and for a moment, she couldn't say a word due to how different he looked. It was as if he was a scorpion, ready and willing to strike her down with one wrong move, and it made her nervous, but she had to push through, so she turned her body enough to face him completely, and bowed to the blonde and exclaimed, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sakura could feel him staring at her, possibly in confusion, but she continued to push through her speech. When Kakashi-sensei said that you died yesterday, I couldn't believe it. You were just one of those people that did dumb things on the fly regularly, and lived to talk about it, so at first, I didn't believe him. I thought he was joking. But he wouldn't joke like that in such a serious situation. Yo, stay strong, pink hair. Inner Sakura shouted out within her mind as Sakura continued on with, but when I realized you died, I cried Naruto. I couldn't stop from crying, but then it got worse. Haku told us how lonely you were at home. She told us that you didn't feel like you belonged there because of how we treated you, and she was right. Sakura was trying so hard to keep her tears in check, but when she felt them beginning to slip out from her eyes and onto the grass beneath her, she realized that she had failed and decided to go all out. We treated you like shit, Naruto. All we did was pick on you, belittle you, and hurt you day in and day out, but none did it more than me. Ever since we were little, I treated you as if you were subhuman, and to make it worse, this was after I promised to be your friend. Sakura-san, she heard Naruto breathe out softly, but Sakura lifted up her head to reveal her tear-streaked face, which caused any words that were going to leave Naruto's mouth to die immediately. No, don't try to defend what we did. What I did, I was a monster to you, Naruto. All I saw you as was the idiotic dead last pranking loser of the class and my own personal verbal and physical punching bag, Sakura admitted with a bitter tone in her voice. At times, I genuinely forgot that you had feelings. I justified myself in beating you and hurting you as a way of releasing stress or punishing you for bugging me or getting in between me and Sasuke. Sakura then chuckled angrily at herself and admitted honestly, I would hit you for whatever minor thing you did, but I also did it because I knew you wouldn't hurt me like anyone else would. Hell, it's why everyone except Hinata or Shino or Choji or Shikamaru did it. Because you were you and you smiled through it all, but it wasn't until your death and Haku's words that I realized how that was a lie. Sakura lowered her gaze to the ground and said, we hurt you, for years we were hurting you, and excluding you, we damaged you, we were the ones that made you feel so alone in your own home. I realized last night that the reason you put yourself through that was because you're lonely, that you realized that even if you were getting abused, you weren't as lonely as you were before. And that made me feel sick to my stomach, that I put you through all of that when all you wanted was a fucking friend. It took you dying for me to realize that all you ever wanted was someone, anyone to be kind to you. Without you going through any type of pain to be with someone. It took going outside of our home and into this depressing situation for you to be happy. Through tear-filled eyes, Sakura saw Naruto lower his head so his hair was hiding his face, and she could see that his face was blank. But that didn't stop her at all from whispering Haku was right. If even one of us were true friends, you wouldn't have been alone in our own home. You wouldn't have had to look for friendship and even love with the enemy. Sakura let out a deep, shaky sigh, seemingly exhausted from all of the emotion she put in her speech, but she knew that she wasn't done just yet. She had a little more to go. Do you know that I noticed how much happier you've been since we've been here? How much hard work you've been doing here? Everyone loves you here. Yesterday after you collapsed, the villagers showed up at Tazuna's place, and you know what they did. She watched as one ocean blue eye became visible through Naruto's hair, which made her smile a little bit. They cheered your name the entire night. Not my name or Sasuke's or Sensei's or even Zabuza and Haku's. Yours. Mine? Naruto asked her, his expression frozen in a stunned look. Yours, Sakura confirmed. You have done so much for this village, Naruto. The entire time you worked your ass off for Tazuna and the other workers at the bridge. You made a clone to play with the children. You saved the entire village from Gato and his thugs. Hell, you saved all of our lives because without you coming back, all of us would have died. You should have heard Inari yesterday. Naruto Nai is a hero, he said all night. You not only gave Inari back his hope, but you made this entire village happy. Haku told me that, but I didn't believe it, Naruto whispered in disbelief, but Sakura merely socked his shoulder with a large, sad smile. You better believe it. This place loves you, Naruto, and it's sad because after seeing all that you have done and seeing you put it all on the line and losing it all for a while, you deserve that treatment, not the bullshit we put you through, Sakura said, her tone going from happy for him back to a sullen state. You deserve better, not just for all you've done here, but for all the shit we put you through back in Konoha, Sakura finished with a gentle smile, now giving the blonde all the room he needed to talk. But was she expecting anything from a smile to a scowl to bragging? All Naruto could ask her was, why tell me all of this now? Was it because I saved your life? Or is it due to you being afraid of me? None of the above. Sakura exclaimed sharply before she lowered her voice to add, I told you all of this, because I needed you to know how pathetic and sorry I am for treating you like a subhuman for all these years. I just wish it didn't take you dying for me to realize all of this, but in a way, I have a feeling that I never would have seen the truth. Sakura then moved towards Naruto and said, I apologize, but I don't expect you to forgive me now or even ever. All I want to do is let you know that even though you have Haku, you won't be alone anymore. I'll have your back no matter what happens. Naruto stayed silent for what seemed like a lifetime, but without warning he stood up and said, we were both different people before yesterday. I was an annoying prankster seeking attention from everyone at any cost, and you were, plain and simple, a bitch. Sakura flinched from the blatant truth in Naruto's words, but she remained silent to let him continue. But what happened has happened. You admitted you were wrong in your actions, and now, it's my turn to admit that I let it go on. If I had any self-respect then, I would have put you and everyone in their place a long time ago, but I needed that attention. You were right, I was lonely, and how I handled it was unhealthy, and had it continued, I probably would have committed seppuku. Sakura gasped at this admission. If Sakura had eaten this morning, she surely would have thrown up from this reveal. The fact is this, we both made mistakes, and now it's time for us to take the first steps in healing from our actions, and make peace with them. It will not be easy. Nothing ever is, but it will make things better for the future, but as of right now. She watched as Naruto moved his head from side to side before he turned his head to her and offered, I have a food stand that feeds the children and anyone who needs it. Haku and I normally make the food, but since she isn't here, I figure I would have to do it alone. Sakura was unsure of where Naruto was going with this, until he turned his head and gave her a gentle smile, which caused her heart to miss a wanted beat. He held out his hand to her and asked, would you like to assist me today? Elder gods know I need assistance from someone more competent than me. Sakura stared at his vibrant blue eyes until her eyes widened at the realization. He was giving her another shot. He may have not outright said it, but he was giving their friendship another shot. Sakura held back the large smile that wanted to split her face just enough to have a normal smile, and took his hand and said, it would be an honor to assist you, Naruto. Village of Wave. Pav. Uzumaki Naruto. 3 hours had passed since Naruto and Sakura's talk, and now the two were walking the dirt trail to Tazuna's house, as the sun was high in the sky, and Sakura was trailing behind the blonde shinobi deep in thought. They were nearly mobbed by the large crowd that had arrived to greet them at the food stand, but it turned out that they were all there to thank Naruto for all that he had done. Naruto, in a surprising twist, told them that he needed no thanks for his services, and that he was only there to help them as long as they needed him. As if that was all they were thanking him for. She couldn't help but smile at how bashful Naruto was from all the praise, but she was very surprised about him as well. There was no arrogance or teasing or flaunting at all. He remained quite level-headed and mature about the entire thing. But then again, she had a feeling that this was the real Naruto she was seeing. Not the one that she had known and bullied in Konoha. It was then she paused as a shocking realization popped into her head. Naruto has everything he wanted here. He had a girlfriend, he had saved the village, he had become a huge hero. He was no longer lonely. But he had to return to Konoha when it was time to go, but would he be honestly willing to give this all up for a place that shunned him and hurt him? In all honesty, she wouldn't be surprised if he stayed in Wave. People loved him here and wanted him to be around. Why would he give it all up for Konoha? There was no reason for it at all. Sakura couldn't help but sigh at this. They would never see how he changed. Hey Sakura-san, you've gotten pretty quiet back there. You alright? Naruto asked with a glance in her direction. Sakura rose her head and nodded swiftly before she said, yeah. I'm just thinking about after the mission. I mean, Sakura paused, unsure she wanted to go down this conversation right now, but as Naruto continued to look at her, she knew she had to say something. But the moment she opened her mouth to continue her train of thought, Sasuke's voice was heard from above them. It's about time you both got back here. Sensei was getting worried. Sakura let out a silent sigh of relief as Sasuke landed behind the two of them. Go inside, Sakura, and let Kakashi-sensei know you're back. Dope. You and I have to talk. Sakura saw the troubled expression on Sasuke's face and knew beforehand that he had been aching to talk to Naruto as much as she had, so she walked up to Naruto and grabbed the large soup pot from his hand and said, I'll let Kakashi-sensei know you're here. Naruto nodded at her but kept his eyes on Sasuke as he replied, yeah, I'll be up shortly. Sakura immediately ran into the house, leaving Naruto and Sasuke alone outside of Tazuna's home. Village of Wave, flashback. Pav. Hayato no Haku. Naruto. 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 Haku felt pride bursting through her heart as she heard the faint cheers from the Wave villagers from her resting place in the spare room Tsunami happily gave her. It had been a few hours since the battle on the bridge, and Haku was reflecting on the events that led her to sitting at the bedside of one Uzumaki Naruto. Before this mission began, she, a shinobi as cold as the biting winter, belonged to the cruel and vicious Momochi Zabuza, to always and forever be his weapon. But then her master accepted this mission to kill Tazuna, and things had gotten out of control. She met and fell in love with one of her enemies, gave herself to him, and then momentarily lost her precious person due to him selflessly taking the bullet for her and Zabuza. When hope seemed lost during her battle with Han, he returned within an inferno, and not only took down Han, forcing him to retreat, but he killed the tyrant Gato, and ran off his ruthless gang. It seems so strange, it had only been a few weeks, and you've already changed so much of my life, Haku thought with a gentle smile, as she brushed a strand of blonde hair from her precious person's face, but it was then his hand quickly sprung from the covers and latched itself around her wrist tightly, which caused her to gasp in surprise. Suddenly, Naruto's eyes snapped open, but instead of the crystal blue eyes she had come to expect, his eyes were completely white, with no other eyes in sight, and they were glowing faintly, which caused a brief look of panic to appear on her face. But those eerily glowing white eyes faded away to reveal the worried crystal blues that she had wanted to see. By the elder gods, I am so sorry, Haku-chan. Naruto grievously apologized. Haku could hear the panic in his voice and in his eyes as he swiftly removed himself from her wrist. Haku quickly placed her hands on his cheeks and gently smiled as she reassured him, "It's okay. I'm okay. I promise. I thought someone was going to attack me in my sleep. I should have expected it was you." "I am so sorry," Naruto continued. "It's okay, I shouldn't have had my hands so close to your face," Haku gently responded as she shut her eyes briefly, holding back the pain that his grip had caused her wrist. "I'll be fine, I promise." Naruto nodded into her hands and murmured, "I'm sorry if I hurt you. That's the last thing I ever want to do." "I know. You proved that today when you—" Haku's voice cracked when she thought about what had occurred to Naruto during the incident on the bridge. Despite Naruto being alive and well now, Haku still couldn't get over the fact that he had died on the bridge because of her, and it was something she was sure would haunt her memories for many years to come. "When you saved us," Haku continued after clearing her throat, trying to steer her thoughts and conversation away from his death. Naruto looked at her in concern, but she shook her head and said, "It's about time you woke up anyways. I was getting worried." "I'm sorry, I just have a lot to process after all that has happened both mentally and physically," Naruto replied, his voice as soft as the mattress Haku had now found herself sitting on. "I know, I was doing the same thing before you awoke," Haku admitted with a small smile. "I hope you don't regret it," Naruto softly said, which caused Haku to look at his eyes with concern. Of course, she didn't regret what had occurred between them. She regretted that he had died for a little while because of her weakness, but she did not regret anything that had happened that led them to this moment now. "But, did he? I regret you getting hurt, but I don't regret anything that happened between you and I," Haku told him gently as she took his hands in hers. Haku then took a deep breath and asked, "But do you?" Naruto started out, but then he grew silent, and Haku could see that he was really thinking about his answer, and that made her nervous. She didn't want him to regret what they shared during their time together in Wave, but she could understand if he did. Her actions on the bridge had led him to die, and if she had died and come back, she would question things as well. But if he did, she would be hurt despite understanding. Naruto seemed to think for what felt like a lifetime to her, but when he looked at her, she saw the familiar warmth in his eyes that she had seen a few times in her life, and suddenly, she felt at ease. "I do not regret a moment we shared together," Naruto answered with a gentle smile. "Yeah, with our meeting, a lot of things in my life have changed, but I don't regret a thing. I don't regret our first smile. I don't regret our first kiss. I don't regret the night we made love under the stars or the fear that we shared in thinking that one of us would not see this night, and I don't regret doing what I did in sacrificing myself for you." Haku felt tears prickling in her eyes at his words, and couldn't help but let out a relieved laugh. She was sure he was going to regret it, but to hear him vocally tell her this made her feel happy. But he looked as if there was something more he wanted to say, and she was right because his face then took on a seriousness she was not expecting at all. "I don't regret doing what I did, but in doing what I did, I feel as if I lost who I am, or what I was, and I don't know what to do," Naruto admitted to her as he lowered his head, his voice sounding as lost and unsure as he looked. Haku merely took him into her arms and whispered, "You may feel lost, but I will help you find who you are. And that is one promise that I shall never break." Village of Wave, present. Pav. Hayato no Haku. "Haku-san, are you awake?" Haku's eyes slowly opened at hearing her name, and slowly, she leaned up to see Sakura standing in the doorway with a worried look on her face. Haku gave the girl a small smile to ease the worry the pink-haired cherry blossom was feeling. "I've been awake for a little while now. No need to fret. How are you doing, Sakura-san?" Haku asked as her smile shrunk slightly when she saw Sakura's face. It looked as if she had been crying and was a little concerned at the sight. Sure, she had been mighty cruel yesterday on the bridge, revealing some truths she was sure the cherry blossom didn't know, but she didn't want her upset by what she said during a high-stakes situation. Her brief worries were eased when Sakura answered, "I'm doing okay. Actually, a lot better than okay. And it's because of you." "Because of me?" Haku inquired. Sakura nodded and beamed with happiness as she replied, "Yeah. You opened my eyes yesterday on the bridge with your words, and because of that, I spent all night thinking about all the shit I put Naruto through and apologized thoroughly. I came up here to thank you for helping me see the light and repair my friendship with Naruto-san." Haku was surprised at Sakura's admission, but at the same time, she wasn't. Naruto mentioned time and again that Sakura was the smartest girl in his class, and that it took her no time at all to find a solution to any problem that lay before her. "You're welcome, so you've seen him today?" Haku questioned. Sakura nodded and replied, "Yeah, we just got back from feeding everyone in the city with the stuff you two normally make. He's outside talking with Sasuke. I just hope they're getting along." Haku was unsure of this and said, I know that Naruto-kun and Sasuke-san had quite the rivalry. I doubt things would be fine, but you are right, perhaps things should be fine. Village of Wave. Pav. Uchiha Sasuke. A myriad of emotions flowed through Sasuke's body as he stood across from his blonde teammate. Sasuke knew that he should be glad that his teammate was alive and well after hearing of his death, but Sasuke couldn't be thrilled. Instead, all he could be was confused at what had gone down since his apparent death and revival. Before his death, Naruto could barely fight himself out of a chokehold against a plastic bag, and now the blonde was able to take down a shinobi that took out the triple threat of Zabuza, Haku, and Kakashi. Sasuke couldn't believe that at all. But he saw it happen with his own two eyes. He saw Naruto defeat Han and kill Gato. He saw him reborn through the flame vortex he had created. Whatever this power was, it was able to defeat a shinobi as strong as Han, and it belonged to the hands of an idiot. Naruto didn't deserve that power, he did. He needed that power to kill Itachi, and however Naruto gained it, he would force the blonde to give it to him at any cost. Sasuke, I don't have all day watching you glare at me. Either tell me what you need so we can finish this quickly or leave. Sasuke snapped back to attention at Naruto's words, which caused him to notice the look of annoyance and impatience on Naruto's face. Something about this made Sasuke scowl at the blonde. Am I keeping you from something important? Sasuke asked with narrowed eyes. Actually yes, Naruto admitted. Haku-chan is possibly awake and I would like to spend time with her, unless you're ready to stop wasting my time and start talking. Sasuke's scowl deepened at the blonde's words, and with gritted teeth, Sasuke replied, Listen dope, I'm not wasting your time. I have questions about your revival and new abilities, and I want an answer to them. Sasuke watched Naruto's facial expression go from annoyed to blank in less than a moment before he wordlessly turned around and started to walk towards Tsunami's home. Much to Sasuke's anger. Dope. I want an answer. You can't turn your back on me. Sasuke raged out with bold fists. Sasuke watched as Naruto stopped mid-step and only turned his head enough to stare at him from the corner of his eye and asked, And why should I give you one, Sasuke? Because I need answers. Sasuke instantly responded. I knew you for years and was able to beat you each and every time we had to spar in class. Even before we became shinobi, I could have beaten you and anyone without any issues. Sasuke then lowered his head to look at the ground and said, Even during this mission, I held it all together. You froze against the Demon Brothers and nearly got killed against Zabuza during the first fight. Well, I beat them both and stood my ground against Zabuza, but somehow, you reaped the benefits of it all. Sasuke looked back at Naruto and saw that the blonde was still in his previous position and shouted, Somehow, you managed to get the respect of everyone here, as if you're Kami on Earth. You managed to not only find someone to like you, but it was our very enemy. You. The weakest of us all in Konoha managed to defeat an enemy that Zabuza, Kakashi, and Haku couldn't, and with skulls you never had, with the power you never had. Sasuke took a step forward, his ebony-colored eyes changing into the ninjutsu of his former clan's joy and yelled, That power does not belong in the hands of someone unworthy of it. Of someone who doesn't need it. I need that power to defeat him and to bring honor to my clan, something you wouldn't understand, and I demand you to tell me how you got it or give it to me. A gentle breeze overcame the area as Sasuke glared at the blonde, who still had his back to him, and for a moment, Sasuke felt a little nervous at his fierce outburst, due to the complete silence that came from the shinobi in his sight. Suddenly, a small chuckle was heard from Naruto, which caused Sasuke to blink in surprise. So, how long were you holding that little speech in? Naruto asked, sounding more amused than anything. I'm sure for a little while. I even bet you practiced it while looking in the mirror because you hit all the right dramatic notes. Sasuke blinked in surprise, his anger momentarily gone due to the way Naruto reacted to his words, but when he realized the blonde found humor in his words, it made the Uchiha more furious than before. This is not a joke. I am not a Joe. Sasuke was immediately interrupted when Naruto turned around with a serious look in his eyes. Yes you are, Naruto replied swiftly, his tone going from amused to serious in an instant. You think you can come up to me with that nonsense and expect me to actually take you seriously? I've dealt with a lot of foolishness in my life, so if you think I would take the words of a pompous, witless fool like yourself seriously is the day I truly lose my mind. Naruto then flashed a small smirk and concluded, Now as I said before, I have someone waiting for me so this little meeting is over. Thank you for wasting the time I could have spent with her. Naruto then turned around and started to walk back towards the house, leaving Sasuke to stew over his words. No, there's no damn way, I will let you walk away after insulting me, Sasuke thought in fury before he let out a large yell, and dashed towards the walking Naruto as fast as he could. Sasuke cocked back his fist when he was inches away from Naruto, but without warning, felt Naruto's right hand collide with the right cheek of his face, which sent him sailing to the side and against a tree rather hard where he then slumped to the ground. Sasuke quickly looked up to see Naruto kneeling in front of him with a look of anger he had never seen before in those crystal blue eyes. I didn't even see him move, Sasuke thought, his Sharingan activated eyes shaking in fear as he felt Naruto grip his neck and jerk his head forward until their noses were touching, and for a moment, Sasuke could see anger within his blue eyes. Listen and listen well, he heard Naruto tell him in a voice that promised that something dark could occur if he didn't obey his words. I have dealt with people like you for my entire existence, and I have dealt with them the same way I will deal with you. If you ever come near me with the intent to hurt or kill me. Sasuke then saw embers floating up around the two of them, as the heat began to make him sweat heavily. But Sasuke scowled at the shinobi's attempt to try and scare him and spat, "And what's that? Tell them about your ramen adventures." Sasuke quickly found out that mocking Naruto was a mistake when Naruto's eyes faded away, leaving his eyes completely white. Before the fire ignited within and around his eyes, the skin around his eyes started to glow orange red and crack. "Continue to mock me and I will blacken your bones." Naruto roared out in his face, causing Sasuke to freeze up in terror he hadn't felt since that time. He could hear the raw rage and power echoing through Naruto's now deepened voice, and of course, having the blonde with literal fire in his eyes, and his skin looking as if it would explode in flames, told Sasuke that Naruto meant every word that he said. "I am the reason you are still breathing and not among the dead at this very moment. I could have let you and Sakura and everyone perish at the hands of that shinobi and Gato, but I, in my weakened state, came back when I had no reason to return to such a wretched, arrogant lot like yourself. And instead of getting a tiny bit of thanks, you dare belittle me and then attack me when my back is turned. How dare you?" Sasuke could feel the heat around him increase before he noticed out of the corner of his eye that a bunch of grass suddenly exploded in a burst of fire that appeared a few inches away from his left arm. What had he done? Sasuke then felt Naruto's grip on his neck tighten, which caused him to wheeze out of breath, but Naruto continued on. "If you ever, in your pathetic life, ever cross me the way you have today, I will rectify saving your life here and forcefully remove your head from your shoulders and bathe you in hellfire of the Netherem. Am I understood?" "I understand." Sasuke wheezed out in horror as more fire came exploding into life around them, but as soon as he said these words, he found himself staring into the crystal blue eyes of Naruto, instead of the inferno that were there moments before. "But now be gone," Naruto whispered darkly as Sasuke felt the grip on his neck loosen. He took no time in switching himself with a log, and ran as fast as he could into Tsunami's house, but as he closed the door, he saw a flash of smoke appear behind Naruto. Village of Wave. Pav. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto heard the door to Tsunami's house slam shut, telling him that Sasuke had gotten inside, but Naruto had not moved from the spot he was currently kneeling on. He had lost control. He should have done what he was doing before and just walked away, but Sasuke always had to push his buttons and drag a battle out of him, like he always did. It infuriated Naruto that he had given in to Sasuke's games, but at the same time, Naruto was pleased that he had. Sasuke was a very driven person, and he knew that he would not drop his power-hungry ways until something drastic, and considering how bad he was set off, it could have cost the Uchiha his life. I could have killed him without a second thought. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't have wasted a moment in ripping his head off of his shoulders, but then again, I suppose this is still my newer life taking over my thoughts, Naruto thought to himself with a small chuckle, before he looked behind him and said, "Wow, you waited all this time to show yourself, Kakashi. You're usually faster than this." Naruto saw the hint of surprise in the elder man's visible eye, but it quickly disappeared into a cool and calculated look that he had come to know from his elder. "Well, I am injured, Naruto. It took me a bit to get out of bed," Kakashi countered with a nice smile. "I suppose, I thought you wanted me to come upstairs to meet with you," Naruto said as he stood up to stare at the silver-haired scarecrow. "I did, but I happened to feel an enormous amount of chakra and decided to check it out. Turns out when I did, I saw you nearly causing an inferno with Sasuke scared out of his mind. I must say, you really live up to your title as unpredictable," Kakashi said with a good-natured chuckle, but this only made Naruto get on his guard. Kakashi's voice and eyes seemed carefree, but his body language looked tense, as if any certain movement would cause Kakashi to snap like a coil, and Naruto understood why his sensei was like this. This was truly the first time he and Kakashi saw each other since the bridge, and the last time Kakashi saw him was when he was dying. Naruto knew that if his old student Akita had died and returned looking radically different, he would be concerned about whether Raiden or Quan Kai got their filthy hands on him. Naruto leaned against the tree and stared at Kakashi for a long period of time with a frown on his face. "What are you really doing out here?" Naruto questioned. "And don't bother giving me some lame excuse." Kakashi's carefree look quickly morphed into a firm, calculating gaze, and Naruto watched as Kakashi's eye roamed up his body until it reached his face, and with a dark, fierce tone, he asked, "Who are you?" Naruto was taken aback by this question, but as he opened his mouth to respond, Kakashi quickly said, "Don't bother answering that question because I already know the answer. You look like Naruto. There are differences, of course. Namely your facial structure, height, muscle mass, and voice, but the main aesthetics remain the same. Blue eyes, blonde hair, 3 whisker marks on each cheek." Kakashi narrowed his eyes and added, "But the one thing that troubles me the most is your eyes. Before, your eyes held endless excitement and mischief in them. But most of all, they were innocent and carefree. But now, your eyes have a more mature look, as if you've seen a life of endless torture and sorrow with hidden strength as well, something you should never have in your eyes. Even the report of your actions yesterday, and your skill tells me you are Naruto. Naruto would never kill another, nor did he have the ability to fight someone neither I, Zabuza, or Haku could defeat. You look the part of Naruto, but you aren't him, so who are you? Naruto scowled and opened his mouth to speak before he slowly closed it and looked to the side, truly unable to answer the shinobi before him. I don't know how to answer that because I don't know who I am, Naruto finally admitted after a few moments of silence, but then he looked at Kakashi dead in the eye. The last time I knew that, I had your arm sticking inside my chest. Naruto saw Kakashi flinch from this and narrowed his eyes, his mind instantly thinking of more to say to capitalize from this before he added, the last time I knew who I was when Haku held me in her arms before I died. After that, I had to deal with flames that came from hell itself being forced into my body. It remade me, healed me, molded me into what I am now. It gave me this power over hellfire. Naruto demonstrated this by igniting his left hand with hellfire. You should be happy, Naruto murmured as he glanced at the flames. Because of this power, I saved our team from being killed by Han and Gato's men. Naruto then closed his hand, thus snuffing out the fire, and then lowered it as he continued. I understand where you're coming from, and I understand your concern, and I even understand why you are on guard right now. But the one thing I will tell you is this, if I am not Naruto, then tell me why did I come back? Kakashi seemed unsure about his question, but Naruto swiftly followed his question up with, you know what my life was like in Konoha. You know how badly they treated me. If I was not Naruto, why did I come back? Naruto could see Kakashi racing to think of an answer, and just as he saw the silver-haired man's mouth open, Naruto quickly interrupted and said, and before you answer, if I was not Naruto, I wouldn't have saved Haku either. Kakashi's mouth closed at this. You're right about one thing, I'm not Naruto, Naruto admitted. I wasn't Naruto the moment I died, but I came back because I love Haku-chan. I came back because I do not want any of you to die because we are teammates, and I could never turn my back on them. I seem to recall learning that those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. And I could never stand being worse than trash. He could feel Kakashi's eyes still on him, as if trying to deduce his words before Naruto suddenly heard a small chuckle leave Kakashi's lips, which caused Naruto to glance at him with a frown. What was so funny? You know, now that I listen to you, I can tell you're Naruto, Kakashi started with a look of amusement in his eyes. Yes, you may look different and your attitude and abilities are different, but your heartfelt speeches are something that can't be replicated. I'm glad you approve, Naruto stated with a blank look on his face, but inwardly, he was glad that Kakashi realized that he was somewhat Uzumaki Naruto, even if he himself couldn't feel it. Well, of course, Kakashi stated with a grin before he took a small breath and looked at the clear blue sky. I will say, I am surprised I managed to last this long before exploding, Kakashi suddenly stated with a chuckle, which made Naruto suddenly tense up. But, I am losing chakra, and I doubt I can retain this clone any longer. You really took too long coming upstairs, Kakashi said with a small sigh, which made Naruto roll his eyes in annoyance. You're the one who came down and jumped the gun, Kakashi. I could have been up there in a few moments, Naruto responded with a cross of his arms, but Kakashi merely chuckled and gave a carefree shrug. What can I say, I'm impatient, Kakashi chuckled. But there is one thing I do want to tell you before I poof away, so listen carefully. Naruto could hear the seriousness in Kakashi's voice, and decided to heed his word and listen to what he was going to say. As your sensei, I can teach you many things. From tree walking to maintaining your chakra level and putting you through hell, but I can't do everything for you. You alone must walk that road to find what is missing within you, and only then will you find what you desire. I await what you'll do when we leave in 2 days, Kakashi said with a chuckle before he disappeared into a plume of smoke, leaving Naruto standing alone in the forest. The blonde shinobi merely snorted, placed his head against the tree and said, I alone must walk that road, only then will I find what I desire. TCH, it seems your confusing teaching lives on in this world, Takahashi. Naruto then chuckled. He knew what he had to do. Village of Wave, 2 days later. Pav. General. Naruto. You ready to go? Naruto opened his eyes and let out a small yawn, as he laid his head back down on the pillow next to Haku, and said, Haku-chan, it's time to wake up. Haku mumbled and snuggled deeper into his chest, which made Naruto chuckle softly and kiss the top of her forehead. Must we really get up to do this? Haku grumbled out as she looked up at the blonde and with a pout. We must, the sooner we do this, the sooner we can get going as well, Naruto replied with a small chuckle. It had been 2 days since his talk with Kakashi in the forest, and once he spoke to Haku about it, he realized what Kakashi was slyly suggesting, and he agreed with the elder shinobi. Naruto had to go his own way to find out who he truly was, and trying to do this in Konoha was not going to help him. If anything, what he learned by dealing with Sasuke was that going to Konoha would be more damaging to him than anything. He needed time away to find out who he was. Would he return to Konoha? He didn't know, but as of right now, there was no way he would go back. But Naruto then realized that even though he didn't want to go back, he didn't want to remain in Wave either. As much as he loved the people here and vice versa, he knew that being in Wave would hinder him even more, due to feeling such love and affection from Wave's people. No, he wanted to become more familiar with this world he was in now, and the only way he could do that was to explore it, and perhaps find himself along the way. Naruto couldn't help but smile a bit at Haku's words, when he had finished telling her about his plan to travel to the elemental nations, in order to find out who he truly was. I believe I made a promise the other night stating that I will help you find who you are. I don't intend to break that now. When do we leave? And that, followed by the night of them sleeping together, made him mentally smile. He definitely didn't regret sacrificing himself to save her. Just then, Naruto heard the door open, and in came Sakura, leaning against the doorway with a blank stare. Naruto, I've been calling you for 10 minutes now, we're ready to go. Naruto leaned up from the bed and said, I know. I'm just trying to wake my bedmate, and she's deciding to be lazy. It's not being lazy, it's being comfortable, Haku grumbled as she leaned up off the bed as well while leaning on Naruto's left shoulder. Naruto could see Sakura blush a bit at the fact the two of them were sharing a bed, but it wasn't like they had sex or anything. They still had on clothing. Regardless, Kakashi-sensei says we need to be out of here by noon, and it's almost time, Sakura announced, and then left the room as she shouted, Sasuke-kun. It's time to wake up. Naruto chuckled and turned to Haku to say something, but he noticed Haku had a small frown on her face, with her eyes staring at the spot Sakura was standing in moments before. Naruto went to say something, but Haku merely smiled at him and said, come on, we should get ready as well. Soon, the group of shinobi, sans Zabuza, were standing at the exit of the village, just as the sun was rising, to make sure to beat the crowd that would have been around them otherwise, and Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke were standing with their backs towards the entrance, while Naruto and Haku stood with their backs before the village. Sakura, Sasuke, why don't you guys go wait over there? I just need to speak to Naruto alone for a minute, Kakashi ordered softly as he pointed to the exit of the village. And what about Naruto? Sakura asked, her green eyes flashing from her sensei to Naruto as she said this. Sasuke merely scoffed and walked away from the group and stood outside of the village, not wanting to be anywhere near Naruto at this time, due to still being sore about what had happened 2 days before. Naruto looked towards Sakura and for a moment, he didn't know what to say to her. Ever since her apology, the two hadn't exactly had the time to spend with one another to have a brand new start on their friendship, but this was something he had to do. I'm sorry Sakura-san, but I have a few things to take care of here before I return there, Naruto told her with a small smile on his face. Naruto could see the sad look in Sakura's eyes appear, but then a sad smile formed on her face as she chuckled lightly. I had a feeling that this could occur, just take care and come back home when you're ready, Sakura said before she reached out to hug Naruto briefly, which he returned before she walked away to stand near Sasuke. So, I gave you 2 days of space to think about what I said, and from seeing that, I believe you've made your choice, Kakashi said with a serious tone in his voice. Naruto nodded and confirmed, I did, before he reached up and untied the hideite from his forehead, and held it out to Kakashi. I can't return to Konoha until I figure things out about myself. Kakashi took the hideite and said, from the moment you mentioned you didn't know who you were, I knew I had to say something. Those words were the very same words my sensei gave me before he died, and I never followed through with them, and I came to regret it. I'm glad you aren't following in my footsteps. And what about the Hokage? What will he say when you guys return without me? Naruto asked. Kakashi merely chuckled and said, I'll just be honest with him, he understands that some shinobi need that time away from their village. Although he is attached to you, I think he would understand. Naruto nodded and said, so, this is goodbye. Kakashi laughed as he held out his right hand towards Naruto and corrected, not goodbye, just a brief absence. I have a feeling I'll be seeing you again soon. Take care of yourself, I don't want this to be the last time we see each other. Naruto looked at the hand and clasped his right hand with Kakashi's and replied, you'll see me again Kakashi, I promise you that. Kakashi loosened his hold and said, you promised. Don't break it now, Kakashi nodded at Haku, and also said his goodbyes to Tsunami, before he glanced at Naruto one last time, before walking out of the village with Sakura and Sasuke by his side, while Naruto and Haku watched on before the two of them turned around and walked back within the village. But as the two walked back into the village, a certain pink-haired Kunoichi turned her head to see Naruto and Haku walk away. Take care Naruto, Sakura thought with a smile. When you come home, I'll make sure things will be better for you, I promise. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.